You cannot beat the market swing trading. I'm sure you've heard that line 1,000 times, probably from Warren Buffett, maybe Charlie Munger, maybe various other places on YouTube. Guess what? Honestly, they're, for the most part, not wrong. Most traders can't beat the S&P from a buy and hold perspective, most. But what most people, including half the people teaching this stuff, don't understand is that that's not what swing trading is even for. Swing trading is arguably the best wealth building skill for most people if you're able to master it. And it's changed my life personally, and I would not be here without it. But there are several key things that we'll talk about here that a lot of people get wrong and either end up just failing or giving up entirely, which we'll talk about later. But first, we'll just kind of get into what swing trading really is if you're just kind of starting out and you're not familiar, versus day trading or position trading or investing. So, a day trading is obviously something that would look like, my chart would look like this, for instance, where I've got lots of lines on here, and we're just going off of 10, 15 point intervals here on the S&P futures. Buying, we're happy with 5, 10, 15, 20 points sometimes. And sometimes those day trades can turn into swings if we've de-risked them enough into the overnight session. But typically with day trading, you've got a lot of leverage and you're not looking to do that. Day trading, obviously not for most people, especially because it requires so much time. And if you have a 9 to 5, you're really just not gonna be able to do it. Swing trading is kind of like the next sort of time frame up. And technically speaking, and depending on who you talk to, but technically speaking, a swing trade could just be any trade that's held throughout the day to the next day. Because anything shorter than that is a day trade, right? But typically it's thought of, at least in my mind, the aim is maybe 1 to 2 weeks to like a month or two at most. Sometimes it can go longer if you've got a winner and it's really running for you. But, mostly, for the most part, it's, a couple of weeks to a month here. Some people have, their idea of it is like 2 or 3 days. That to me is still kind of like of the day trading mindset. It doesn't mean that it's, and I do this as well, with our day trading room on Carnivore Trades, which we have a sale on 4th of July. But anyway, not to plug too soon here. 2 to 3 days, that's technically, valid too. But for the most part, it's a little bit less stress if you're shooting for that kind of like weekly sort of time period. Then there's another style called position trading, and this one doesn't really get talked about very often. Position trading it's kind of in between long-term investing and swing trading. So for me, like I would think of it at least like a 6-month hold or longer, but usually like 6 months to a year, maybe as long as 18 months. So that could be something like, and I mean, this would be a ridiculous example, but like a Micron, right? If you had bought Micron a year ago, you obviously did very well on that. This is not including if I'm sure you would have trimmed some on the way up. So it's not like you would have had that whole position there, in that regard. But again, bad example there, but maybe a really good one. But nonetheless, that's kind of the idea of it. And then long-term investing is long-term investing. I'm sure you get that. Take all your disposable income and put it into index funds and compounds, over time and so on. But we'll talk about really why swing trading actually makes that so much better. But first of all, swing trading is generally just better for people with jobs, right? Especially if you have like a 9 to 5 time frame, because you don't have to. I mean, day trading takes an incredible amount of emotional discipline. If you're somebody who gets angry or very emotional quickly, it's probably not going to be for you unless you learn how to fix that, because you will need to do it. And you will need to do that for swing trading too. I mean, when you have a big, if we look at NQ, doesn't look like much in the grand scheme of things, but this is 16% in 3 weeks back in 2024, and you might say, if you're a long-term investor and you're watching, so who cares about that? You hold the drawdown. Well, the thing is, with a swing trading portfolio, you're going to have a much bigger position than you would in a long-term scenario relative to what your buying power is, right? So you can't really afford to risk. You can't afford to just sit there, especially if you're using any sort of levered instrument like a 3 times ETF that has lots of decay to it. You can't afford to just sit in that, so you have to have the discipline to maneuver that correctly. And if you guys want to hear more about swing trading in general, tips, more videos, we do have the playlist right here, which this same one this is in. And we talked about that quite a bit. If you want to hear more, I was thinking about doing a little series, like a mini series on swing trading here on the channel specifically. But this video here will come into play later when we get to it. But let me know in the comments your thoughts on that. Maybe some tips on risk management. But in any case, the kind of thought process there is, for swing trading, it's just a little bit easier. You're not having to check it every day. You check every day, but you're not, looking at every little tick on the screen all day long like a day trader. And you're still getting a pretty good yield, right, out of it. And the one thing here that really gets me that we'll start to talk about here is, so this idea here, that you can't beat the S&P, and that's first of all, that's false. You definitely can beat the S&P, especially if you're day trading as well, because you're using leverage there, and if you're profitable, you're going to beat the S&P. But you don't have to, right? This is the thing here. If you had a business, a side business as like a repair, some type of repair handyman thing, right? I wouldn't, go up to you and say, you didn't beat the S&P, did you? Right? So what people get wrong about swing trading is they're using the benchmark. They're using it completely wrong entirely. They judge the swing trading against buy and hold returns. And by that metric, yeah, most lose. But that's like judging a rental property on whether it beats the stock market, right? The real scorecard is cash flow, money you actually have, not net worth that you can't touch until retirement, right? You wouldn't say to someone, "Oh, you didn't beat the S&P with your real estate investment trust or your rental property," right? It's a cash flow advantage, right? And then these, you hear all these wealth experts out there on YouTube. I'm sure you see them too. And they always talk about, you're buying a house and you're just padding your net worth. You didn't actually just get $400,000 richer because you need the cash flow. But then they'll go, then the next video they'll say, well, you should never sell your stocks ever. And okay, so which is it, right? Because, and I get both things are correct, both things are valid, but you have to pick a middle ground here, right? And what if a financial disaster strikes, right? If you have a swing trading portfolio, you got cash on hand all year round. You got cash on hand all year round that you have access to, that you can touch. If you touch your IRA, your 401k, you're done. Like, you just interrupted the compounding, it's over. And you got to pay taxes, you're screwed. You just wrecked your retirement. Just borrow against your assets. Okay, yeah. Okay, Mark Zuckerberg, like, not everybody's a billionaire, right? And even if you did have enough to do that, what if we have let's just say, what if you borrow, take out a 2-year loan in 2021 or 2020, and you have to roll it in 2022, and then in 2022 we have another year like that where interest rates go up and your asset prices go down, and now you're in the hole, right? So you got to be careful who you're taking advice from, because you can tell some people have never been in a bear market before. There is risk to doing everything, right? But really, the point I'm making here is swing trading does not need to beat the market to make you wealthy. It's not a portfolio strategy, it's a cash flow vehicle, and they're two completely different games. So having that cash on hand, being able to rinse and repeat, and that's kind of the strategy I talk about. I can get into this more in another video here, but I really wanted to hit this home. And I'm not going to get into strategies. I know that everybody out there, every guru has the best trading strategy. Okay, whatever, dude. Like, the best trading strategy is the one that works for you. I can tell you which ones I use. Obviously, you guys know Gamma. I have my own technical analysis. I have all my courses, everything, which again, they're on sale this month. If you're interested, pinned tweet. I'm on Twitter. You can come trade with me. If you're a day trader too, you can come trade with me too. And we do market recaps on our second channel, Gamma Boy Trades, at 4 p.m. every day. But nonetheless, I can get into a little bit more of that later. I do want to talk about risk management as far as swing trading here in another video. But let me know your guys' thoughts here. If you're a beginner, you're new, did this help you out? Have you been told that you're an idiot for swing trading before? Maybe this will make you feel a little bit better. And another thing too is, very much like, I'm glad I remembered it because I always do these in one shot here, but I'm glad I remembered it here. Want to watch another video about how you really don't need a big account to make large gains, and you don't, you can make compounding gains with, just that extra cash flow, even if it is small. Check this video out here. But again, very much like wealth building, that $100 a month that you're putting away, eventually it gets to a certain point and then the compounding works in your favor. It's the same thing with swing trades, right? Let's do the math on it. If you're making an extra, 4, 5, 600 a month, maybe a lot more than that, if you have a high paying job, and you're putting money into a swing trading account and you're good. Are you gonna get to a million faster than the person who's just putting money into the IRA? Obviously, right? Because you could put your money into the IRA too, maybe a 50%, 70% here, 50% there. You have a higher paying job, maybe close to 80%. For somebody like me, this is what I do, so my allocations, a little bit different because I'm just, this is my job. But yeah, there's lots of different ways you can do it. And, again, to think of this as more of a skill to learn. And you're going to need skills if you're going to beat inflation. Your job's not going to do it alone. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. We'll wrap it up here. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. We'll see you guys all in the next video.